So you run into people that know me at the bar now.
Yeah.
That's usually where I know people.
Absolutely.
Which one is first? Lock it up is first.
Okay, ready.
I'd like to call the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for Monday, May 1st, 2017 at 5:04. Call to order.
Mr. Schweikert.
Here.
Mr. Hubbard.
Here.
Mr. Mel.
Here.
Mr. Hayes.
Here.
Hey, listen.
You want me to start all over?
Okay, I'll have to get them to pick it up.
All right. Approval of the minutes for April 3rd, 2017.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Schweikert.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard.
Abstain.
Mr. Mel.
Yes.
I don't think there's any old business. Okay, new business. Item number 4. Carol? Want me to read it?
Read it.
Right. By myself? Okay. Variance request from the minimum rear yard setback when abutting residential from the 100-foot required to 35-foot provided for the property located at 7950 Sylvania Avenue, parcel number 7825673, STRZR, section 1705A.
Oh, I just got a typo here. My apologies on this. The subject property of these two variance requests is an M2 zoned irregular shaped parcel used for the partial operation of a self-storage facility. The adjoining parcel to the east contains the office, access drive, and original storage buildings of the facility. This eastern parcel is within the city of Sylvania and has a zoning classification of M1 light industrial. Section 1705 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution requires a minimum 100-foot rear setback for M2 and M1 uses when abutting residential uses. The applicant is seeking a variance from this requirement in order to construct additional self-storage buildings 35 feet from the rear property line, a variance of 65 feet. The rearmost buildings on the eastern property are sited 35 feet from the rear abutting residential property line, and the applicant wishes to align the new buildings with these on the eastern parcel. Per section 1145.03 of their code, the City of Sylvania requires only a 25-foot rear setback for M1 when adjacent to a residential zoning district. Additionally, section 3002 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution requires a landscape buffer of a minimum depth of 30 feet for commercial or industrial uses when abutting residentially zoned properties. The applicant is seeking a 20-foot variance from this requirement in order to provide a 10-foot landscape buffer area. This request, again, would line up with the 10-foot rear landscape strip on the eastern parcel in the city of Sylvania. The residential property abutting the subject property to the rear consists of a nearly 14-acre parcel used for a single-family dwelling and agricultural purposes. The property owner has installed extensive landscaping and mounding along the boundary with the subject property. Another option before the applicant is to apply for a zone change to C2 General Commercial, which only requires a minimum 30-foot rear setback when abutting residential. This would eliminate the need for the first variance request, but not the second, the landscape buffer. Moreover, it is questionable that this change in zoning would be approved. The current Sylvania Township land use plan does support commercial uses of a business park nature in this part of the township. However, the myriad of uses permitted in a C2 district are not necessarily all compatible with the nearby uses on this section of Sylvania Avenue, and many may be more intense in use than the applicant's operation. These variance request cases are unique in two ways. First, in that the applicant's use on the subject property is part of the same business on the adjoining property, which falls in another jurisdiction than Sylvania Township. Typically, both parcels would have been combined as one large parcel prior to redevelopment of the site and would be regulated by one jurisdiction zoning regulations. Secondly, the intent of Section 3002 is to protect residential properties from the intensity of commercial or industrial uses. However, the abutting residential property is uncharacteristic of the residential properties generally found when reviewing cases such as this. It is a large 13.9-acre parcel with but one dwelling. The owner has erected a large earthen mound dotted with a vast quantity of mostly coniferous trees, but featuring many broadleaf ones as well. Furthermore, the existing use of the subject property as a self-storage facility is one of low intensity and should pose no detriment to the abutting large lot residential parcel. Staff recommends approval of the requested variance from the minimum rear setback requirement from 100 feet to 35 feet for the property located at 7950 Sylvania Avenue. Staff also recommends approval with conditions of the requested variance from the minimum landscape strip requirement from 30 feet to 10 feet for the property located at 7950 Sylvania Avenue. The recommended conditions are as follows. 1, the applicant will maintain in good condition the 8-foot privacy fence currently in place along the rear property boundary. Should the fence become damaged or worn beyond repair, it shall be replaced by a new 8-foot privacy fence. 2, the 10-foot landscape strip shall be landscaped with natural vegetation. Stone, dirt, wood chips, etc. are not permitted, and maintained on a regular basis. Failure to meet these conditions may lead to the revocation of the approved variance by the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Can you tell me again, what is the current zoning of the Sylvania parcel, where they're at now?
M2. I'm sorry, the township or the city one?
City one.
Oh, the city is their M1.
Or M1.
I'm sorry. Township is M2.
I'm sure the property owners to the north, Ryan and Gia Schwartz, were noticed.
Yes, yeah.
There it is, right here.
No objection.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
You did that.
Scratch that for the record.
That's scratched. Consider it scratched. Any other questions from the board here? Anybody would like to speak on this?
Swear a minute.
All right. For the record. Anybody's going to talk tonight or have testimony, you're going to have to raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. And this goes for you too. Anyway, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Carry on, Mr. Parker.
Yeah, I would, on behalf of the applicant, Lock It Up, obviously I represent them and concur in the staff's analysis. This is a unique parcel, you can see that. I mean, it's weirdly shaped, and the development has to be pushed to the back. And if you've been out there, you can see it's well maintained. The existing self-storage is really well maintained by Mr. Tolson, and there's ample justification for the variance. And if you've also been back out there, the mound behind us is 30 to 35 feet high with trees on top of it. I mean, it's a huge mound, and the owner, as has been indicated, has no problem with our variance request. So I think there's ample justifications, as indicated by the zoning administrator for the variances. Thank you.
Anybody else?
make a motion to grant the variance request from the minimum rear yard setback when abutting residential from the 100-foot required to 35-foot provided for the property at 7950 Sylvania. We'll do one at a time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are two.
so I've done the first one.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard,
Yes.
Mr. Fleishman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another variance request from rear yard landscape buffer when abutting residential from 30 feet to 10 feet provided for the property located at 7950. I'll make the motion.
You want to reference the
Yeah.
two?
Yes, and I guess, I'm sorry, as part of the motion, also the conditions that were proposed by the staff report be attached to the variance request.
I'll second that.
Do we need to read these into the, we're just going back to the last time you had to read the whole thing.
I mean, he's read it once.
Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Schlechter,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes. Item number 6. Conditional use for the hospital within the R3 zone district for the property located at 7464 Sylvania Avenue, parcel number 7824024, SDRZR, section 1002.
The applicant is requesting a conditional use for a hospital in an R3 residential zone district. The property is currently zoned A3 agriculture, but a change in zoning to R3 residential is pending. This conditional use is contingent upon approval of that zone change by the township trustees. Originally, the applicant is requesting a zone change to C2 PUD. However, on the advice of the Lucas County Plan Commission staff, the zone change request has been revised to be more compatible with the recommendation of the Sylvania Township Land Use Plan, which calls for transitional uses for this area of the township. According to the Land Use Plan, qualifying zone districts for transitional uses are C1 and C4 commercial districts, and R3 and R4 residential districts. The purpose of transitional zoning or uses is to serve as a buffer between more intense uses, such as general commercial or industrial, and less intense residential, particularly single family. Some examples of transitional uses are offices, multifamily dwellings, research labs, small-scale commercial services, and funeral homes. The R3 zoning does not allow a hospital as a permitted use, but does make provision for it under conditional uses, hence the reason for this request. The subject property comprises 3.15 acres of the northern half of the remaining undeveloped parcel located at 7464 Sylvania Avenue. The original parcel was 15 acres in size. The northern 8.5 acres were recently approved for a zone change from A3 agriculture to R5 PUD to allow for the development of the King Point Senior Apartment Building. That portion has been split off and will have the new address of 4120 King Road. The remaining southern portion of the original parcel measures 6.5 acres. The 3.15 acre subject parcel extends nearly 500 feet east to the parcel boundary and has 275 feet of frontage on King Road and no frontage on Sylvania Avenue. Should the zone change be approved, this new parcel will receive a King Road address. There will then be approximately 3.35 acres left of the original parent parcel on the northeast corner of King Road and Sylvania Avenue. This remaining southern portion, in addition to the parcel to the immediate east at 7422 Sylvania Avenue, while both presently zoned A3, are not expected to be developed for residential uses. The hospital use proposed for this parcel is defined as senior inpatient psychiatric care. This 23-bed non-traditional hospital will be single-story and measure 13,290 square feet, 10,640 square feet for patient care and 2,650 square feet for office space. Access to the site will be via one two-way drive on King Road. The previous site plan indicated 2 drives, but has been revised due to spacing concerns from the Lucas County Engineer's Office. Section 2914 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution dictates that hospitals have 1 parking space per bed, thus requiring 23 spaces for this development. The site plan indicates the applicant will be providing 50 parking spaces with 19 more deferred for future use if needed. The applicant will be providing a 100-foot conservation easement along the rear eastern boundary of the property to maintain the existing vegetation in lieu of fencing. The estimated percent of gross parcel acreage that will be covered by buildings and pavement is 38%. The estimated consolidated open space and natural area will be 31%. Sylvania Township Zoning Department staff feels that the proposed use of the subject property meets the intent of a transitional use and is thus compatible with the nearby residential, healthcare, and commercial uses, as well as the 2007 land use plan update. The proposed use should have minimal, if any, unfavorable impact upon surrounding properties. Lastly, the proposed development meets or exceeds the standards required by the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. Staff recommends approval of the requested conditional use for a hospital for the proposed part of the property located at 7464 Sylvania Avenue, subject to the 42 conditions presented in the Lucas County Plan Commission staff report dated April 26, 2017.
We have 2 questions. You done? Good. One of the board members here, I believe it was you, asked about a rendering of the front of the building. Is this?
Yeah, I think that's what he sent that way today.
Is that what it's going to look like as far as you
For,
know?
for this location.
For this location?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is, didn't we just have this here before, a couple weeks ago?
Right. That was when they were still going for the C2 PUD,
Okay.
and they were applying
Excuse me.
for the
Okay, thank you.
variances to the side yard setbacks.
So
Gotcha.
it's a less impactful, under doing the conditional use, it's a less impactful than zoning. Means that how it's looked at than changing the zoning.
Right, the R3 as opposed to the C2.
Right.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. The only, do we have any shot where they're keeping the natural vegetation of that conservation easement? Do we have, I guess that's one thing that hasn't stopped the first time. Do we have any aerial of what's there now? I was just trying to get a sense of what it is that we're gonna.
So another time where it'd be great if we had a drone.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the conservation is, I just don't know how mature or what's actually there in lieu of a fence. Ah, here we go. Thanks. Oh, it's pretty mature.
I mean, these are, I don't know what the dates on the Aries.
Yeah, he's got it. Okay, I mean, that's, I guess we can ask him, yeah, thanks.
Anybody else? Mr. Schlocker?
When's the trustee vote?
This will be before the zoning commission next week, the 10th, so the trustees will hear it on June 6th,
So
the zone change.
it wouldn't be active until and if the trustees approve it.
Correct.
So this is just conditionally approving or disapproving it prior to it.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything to say on the subject area?
Afternoon, Troy Brown with Lewandowski Engineers, 234 North Erie. Yeah, so what we've done is we've added the 100-foot conservation easement, which means this developer or any future sales of the property cannot do anything with that back 100-foot. Can't put a shed back there, nothing goes up back in that back area. I also checked with the architect. The only lighting in the back of the building, besides any possible windows, would be 2 security lights. So it's going to be minimal lighting behind the building. So at night, it's not going to be this bright commercial type of a facility.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like everything else meets every setback, every zoning requirement.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I really do kind of commend you. It looks like it's laid out pretty well for
Right.
what you're doing. It really does.
So are you keeping the current vegetation back there? Is that the plan?
Yep. I'm not going to touch it. We're not going to regrade it. Assurance Health, they don't have any activities outside. Everything's inside the building. So they really just want enough to, mow it and keep things from hitting the building. So we got about 30 foot behind the building to the conservation easement. Yep.
Thank you. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion for the conditional use for a hospital
Or do you want to?
within an R3 zone district for the property located at 7464 Sabine Avenue, parcel number 7824024.
Actually, I mean, and Mr. Miller brought it up, is there an issue with that conservation easement, putting a condition that the existing vegetation remains? They're willing to do that? I mean,
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Okay.
That's our game plan, is to leave it alone.
okay. We
So-
could just have that on the record if nobody minds.
I'll modify, with condition of the existing natural vegetation to be in that setback.
Second. Did you have something, Tim?
Daryl, should we have reference to the 42
Yeah.
conditions in the county?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, we probably should.
Yeah,
42 conditions in the,
so need to modify. And include the 42 plan commission recommendation.
So we can just
So-
amend it to,
Yeah, so, you want me to do it all over, or just amend it?
Just a minute.
All right, so yeah, with the, was it 42 of them? With the county plan commissions, 42 conditions offered as well.
Okay, I have a first and a second.
Do we need to
Second.
make the condition about that the zoning will be changed, or is that just an inherent thing? This, in other words, this can't take place.
right, I think that's in.
All right, sorry.
It's-
Covering all the bases. All right. Second.
Okay.
So you're doing the first and second. And then
He made the motion.
I second.
He
it.
second, sorry.
all right, Mr. Slacker,
yes.
Mr. Hubbard,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Thank you.
What happens when you miss a month?
Huh?
See what happens when you miss a month?
No, we're fine, we're fine. Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
Mr. Hubbard,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Slacker,
yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Very interesting concept they got.
Yeah.
It's seniors.
Yeah.
It's like,
Did you see the demographics?
yeah, well,
That's pretty solid,
Yeah, it is.
and that's a good location for it.
But, having been through some of that, you know, that happens, you're in